another episode of Live and Rock. That's right, the show for creative soul.
Most artists cannot be comfortable stuck in one box.
That's right. And that's what this podcast is about. It's not just filmmaking, but creative pursuits in general.
The creative life, whether it's music, whether it's writing, whether it's painting, illustrating,
photography,
dancing, whatever it is.
Make some noise, rock the world before your time runs out. Let them know what you're about and just make some noise. Rock the world, no matter what your game. Make sure the whole world remembers your name. Make some noise, rock the world before my time runs out. You know what I'm about.
Mic is on.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again.
It
is another episode of Live and Rock.
Rockin' live.
That's right. We are the creative show for creative souls, bringing you insight to the creative life.
Yep.
And ladies and gentlemen, we got a special episode once again for you.
Every episode is special, my friend.
That's right.
I don't know where you've been.
And they're getting better each time. We are right now, we're inside the studio of esteemed guest.
Yeah.
Who is a first-time appearance on Live and Rock.
Yeah.
We're going to talk to you a lot more about that later, but for right now...
Can we at least get a shout-out from our guest?
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Frederic Limon here. Excited to be here.
Thank you very much for being here, Mr. Frederic Limon. My apologies on behalf of my co-host for being such a terrible host, introducing you to our listening audience. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that is Mr. Frederic Limon. But since you drop ball on that, I'll let you tell us who is he?
Frederic Limon is an esteemed composer. He's been working for many years with some great success under his belt.
Yeah.
And we are, like I said, going to get into that later. But just to let you know right now, we are in his studio, and we've been experiencing just a little taste of what he's able to deliver. So we're going to bring him into the conversation right up from the top because there's so much to talk to Frederic about.
That's right.
So let's start this out just by saying shout out, thank you for having us.
Mm-hmm.
And how you feeling, Frederic?
I'm feeling very excited. I love what you guys are doing with this podcast, so I'm really looking forward to the meaty discussion we're going to get out there. Hopefully it's useful to our listeners, your listeners.
Well, it's definitely going to be useful, as I said. This is just a creative roundtable, and you are definitely a talented individual, independent artist. So we are going to get into all of that. I'm looking forward to it. It's not going to be a mini discussion. It's going to be a mega discussion. That's what I'm trying to say.
That's for real.
But for our listeners that are new, and for you as well, Limon, we got to get into some pop talk. We got to warm up. We want everybody to loosen up from CDH Live to Frederic Limon and everybody in between. So as a creative, I know you get inspiration from other things out there. You're not only a musician yourself, but you listen to music, right? And I checked out some of your YouTube blog, and I know that you like movies. So yeah, we're going to get into all of that. So what do we do before that? A quick TV timeout?
Let's do a quick TV timeout, and we'll come back and get right into some pop talk
on episode 13, which is a baker's dozen of Live and Rock.
We're tiny, we're toony, we're all a little loony, and in this cartoony, we're invading your TV. We're comic dissectors, we've cut the bulb sensors. On action adventures, get a dose of comedy. So here's ethnic pursuits, the whole wide world apart. Our home's the only standalone and cartoon work of art. The scripts were rejected, expect the unexpected. On Tiny Toon Adventures, it's about to start. They're furry, they're funny, they're bad and Buster Bunny. Montana matches money, Amara is a pain. He's hunting and plucky, Dizzy Devil yucky. Furballs are sweet and Go-Go is insane. At Hatfield and Bird City, we earn our Toon degree. They're teaching cats and getting laughs and fancy 33. We're tiny, we're silly, we're all a little loony. It's Tiny Toon Adventures, come and join.
Yeah.
And now I song is done. Adventures, come and join.
Yeah.
And now I song is done.
Yeah,
That's
buddy.
right, but Live and Rock is just beginning.
That's right.
Oh my goodness. You guys have no idea how excited I am. Our esteemed guest today, Frederic Limon, he's a composer, he is a producer, he produces music videos, he is a rising YouTube celebrity. and so much more. So I'm almost like I don't even know where to start.
I'll tell you where we're gonna start. So Frederic, I know that you do. You have a YouTube channel. What's it called again?
It's called Soundtrack Reviews.
Yes, soundtrack reviews. And when we're talking about soundtracks, we're talking movie soundtracks. And one of the things that I was impressed by, because this is our What You're Feeling section. I have to tell you the truth. I was feeling your YouTube blog. I don't know if that's what you call it, a blog but it's like, it's unique. It's like you're breaking down movie soundtracks, the classic symphony style music soundtrack on some of the most popular movies. So I watched the one with you broke down Age of Ultron, how they used Pinocchio and they changed it. What was the theme of that episode again?
Yeah, oh man, I'm forgetting right now off the top of my head. It's a brain fart, but they use a song for Pinocchio, I've Got No Strings. Right? As a theme for Ultron, kind of being, I got no strings. Tony Stark can control me, but they totally got this kid to sing it in a very weird way, did some methods, and made it sound freaky for the trailer. So I just showed people how to do that.
Yeah. And that's the thing that makes it so unique that I actually liked about it. Because, to be honest, I like movies, but I've never really paid attention to the soundtracks, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
But the way you break it down, guy, the way you break it down is like you bring what seems to be a little bit above the common man in terms of understanding, the symphonic sound and the orchestra. You break it down to a level where like I can relate. Everybody can relate to, turning a childhood song into something like epic. Like it's just. And you give an actual example of doing the same thing with yourself. So that's really cool. I love that.
Yeah. One of the things I love too, and I know we're kind of jumping right into it, but
we're kind of off track still. But
one of the things I love is like when I used to study film and television. I went to school for film and television production, and in our musical class, I remember whenever they would throw out an idea of a technique, I was so excited. And when I watch your videos, I feel the same way because you talk about how they use this little technique and you can apply it in so many different ways. And I love that. But let's go into what we're really feeling.
Yeah.
So all the compliments, I take them. Thank you. I appreciate that.
So anybody, we talked about, we already touched on the topic of movies because I know you like movies. So, speaking of movies, anything you guys looking forward to in the theater this month or coming up or anything that you've watched recently? I know I'm looking forward to something specific, but I'll let the guests of honor and CDH Live go first.
I'm looking forward to December 17th at 7:30 p.m.
Yes.
That's what I'm looking forward to. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then I don't know why you're listening to this podcast.
Yeah. For real.
Straight goods, yeah.
We just talked about that on the last episode, but it's gonna be talked about like constantly with everywhere you go between now and December 17th, and that's actually just gonna be the kickoff when it starts to get talked about even more, right?
Yeah.
But for the benefit of those who aren't in the know, what are we talking about, CDH?
We're talking about something is about to be awoken.
The force is about to awaken.
That's right.
But once again,
if you don't know, just really and truly, this is an important thing. The force awakens, okay? This is not just, your typical run-of-the-mill action movie.
Yeah.
This is a cultural event.
Yeah. Not even cultural. You can almost say generational event.
Yes, very true.
Because in the same, I don't know what you felt about it, Frederic. The original, were you around for the very first Star Wars? Like, what was your first introduction into Star Wars? I think I just kind of get the cat out the bag, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. So I wasn't around back when it just came out, but I have an older brother who's 14 years older.
Yeah,
he's 14 years older than me. So he's a huge Star Wars fan. You guys know Raul.
Yeah,
and so I remember growing up. I don't know how old I was. Somewhere between 7 to 10-ish.
Yeah,
seeing the VHS back in the day. The original.
That's video cassettes for all you younger listeners.
Yeah, back when Han shot first.
Yes,
and I saw the VHSs. Remember, like, for those that haven't seen the original trilogy, I don't want to, spoil anything, but I remember watching Empire Strikes Back and being like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that. So I had that moment, like everybody else.
Yeah.
So I was probably like, I don't know, around that age when The Phantom Menace came out, and so I was there for when the prequels came out and everybody was disappointed and feeling like, interesting. Anyway,
So you saw the prequels after or before you saw the VHS?
After I saw the original. I was indoctrinated properly with the originals first.
Honestly, I'm curious, just because I've never actually been able to talk to someone who's kind of a generation behind me. I don't want to give away my age too much, but I'm curious from your perspective, someone who didn't watch Star Wars original trilogy when it first came out. Is your perspective on the prequels the same as that tends to be the general consensus for the older like the old grumpy old cats like me, or like what do you think of the prequels compared to the original?
I feel the same as most Star Wars fans because I had the same emotional reactions watching it in the living room, just like, oh my gosh, and then looking at Falcon and everything. If it's okay if I delve into this quickly, when George Lucas sold Lucasfilm to Disney, they did a series of like 4 short videos where he's talking with Kathleen Kennedy, who's the president of Lucasfilm, and just a person that's interviewing them. And in the third video, George Lucas goes on this rant where he talks about how after a lot of accumulation of power, governments will incentivize people to feel fearful about things, and then take more power and control. And he kind of alluded to, I think, in a way, the Patriot Act with the United States and stuff. Right? And then he said a sentence that totally jarred me. He said, "And that is what Star Wars is all about." He said the words, "That's what Star Wars is about," which is kind of exposing this idea, this method. So all of a sudden I realized, like, for him, that's what Star Wars is about, but that's not what Star Wars is about for the mass population. See, that's why you get so much politics and stuff like that in the prequels and the whole, like, the Senator and the Empire. Like, I appreciate his trying to tie into, like, the U.S. and terrorism, so, the government gets more power to surveillance and stuff like that. But I'm like, Star Wars for the masses is about feeling like there's something out there, there's a force, there's the dark side, there's a good, light side. And that primal sort of feeling of like these monks that protect you with these lightsabers kind of thing,
exactly.
Right? So there's where I feel somewhere between the originals and the prequels, I think he just forgot or just was so involved in his own company that maybe he forgot what made the masses feel about Star Wars.
It was missing that that real spiritual connection to the human experience. You know what I mean? It got a little bit more like it's cerebral and political and all. You know what I mean?
It's almost like he was more concerned with making a specific message as opposed to making the movie just out of his passion for the universe that was created,
which was a great universe.
It was. I'm excited to go back into it on December 17th.
So it's like it's a long time that people have been waiting for this to come back with the same amount of energy and fervor as was there originally. Which actually brings me to another comeback that I've been feeling a lot lately.
Oh,
which
go
is
on. I have another one, but go on.
So it's actually the comeback of the lady Adele.
Oh She
came back breaking records on YouTube for most views first day, first week, and she came back saying hello. And I'm just like, wow, this is like. There really hasn't been a fresh new artist that's had this level of impact in quite some time. So that's something I'm feeling, and what I really like about it is that for me,
what do you think about it? No. I mean, if you feel free to vocalize your.
I'll say my thoughts.
It ties in with something else I've been feeling lately, which is just the rise of an artist. Right, because. I remember before her first album came out, my wife and I saw her performing on David Letterman.
Okay.
And I remember my wife was like, "Yeah, that's it right there," and she called it, and
Really?
So it was really amazing to just see how her trajectory has been going.
Is that what she said when she met you for the first time, Craig?
Of course.
That's it right there.
You got it. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
she
crazy.
knows how to pick them.
Well, I mean, since you brought it up, I'll put a shout out to you, NAH, because his wife, you don't know Freddie, but his wife is a phenomenal singer as well. And speaking of that, we just came from doing a video shoot with the two of them. They did a song for a charity, the other day, and we did a video shoot. So yeah, hopefully maybe one day you'll be able to meet her as well, and you'll be able to be privy to her vocal talents. But I'm just mentioning that because, since you brought it up. And also, I know you've done some work for charities with your musical soundtracks or your musical composing. So, yeah. But not to get too far off topic.
Yeah.
That's a good one, Adele. I'm feeling her new song too.
Yeah. And it's the rise of new artists right now. Like, there's just been so much mediocre talent that's being promoted as if they're great talent, and it's nice to see really strong artists come back to the forefront. What do you think?
I think, and I hope people don't hate me for this, I think her next album isn't going to be as good as her first one, because she's not as in much pain. The first one just got me at such an emotional level. Like, you'd feel her pain. The previous breakup it was based off of. This one's, I feel, going to be more like, first of all, her voice is amazing. Anything she puts out is going to be awesome, right? So when I say it's going to be not going to be as good, it's like, okay, like, it's still going to sell a bazillion. It's going to be amazing more than anything I could do with my voice. I heard Hello. I wasn't as touched by it, but it's it's a powerful song. She has a great voice. I'm going to listen to her album. You know, so that's not a criticism at all. I'm just saying it is what it is. Her first album came from such an emotional place. I feel like it's what made her connect with everybody. Now she can do whatever the crap she wants. And I'm going to love it because I don't care.
It's funny you should say that, because when I saw the video for the first time, when I went to watch it today, actually, the first thing that popped in my head when I saw her on camera was, wow, money. What a difference. Like, this is not the same woman that we saw, in the first round of Adele in the music industry. You know what I mean?
I thought the same thing. I have to agree with that.
Very, very polished. You can see the result of the team that's around her, and her, well made up and everything. I see where you're coming from. Trust me.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a musician. We'll talk about that later. But he's doing well for himself, playing in theaters all over that sort of stuff, and he talked about how, like, and it makes sense, a lot of the songs that you'll hear on the radio, some of the people aren't even singing in tune. There are mistakes, but why is it doing so well? It's because they're just putting their heart out there. You're really feeling it. Right. At the end of the day, people don't want perfection. They want to feel something. Right? So Adele, back when, she didn't have that money or whatever, it didn't matter because it just broke through. And any little mistakes in the videos or in her voice or whatever, it didn't matter. And sometimes with that extra polished look, we kind of lose a sense of humanity.
Exactly.
You might feel not as much as a connection.
Exactly. Trust me, I feel you.
It's interesting, though, because one of the things I was planning to ask you later about is because you talk on your website, on your blog, you talk a little bit about, marketing ideas, and, you talk a bit about formulas that you can use to increase views and so on, and you talk about techniques a lot. What do you think, from a composition standpoint, from the music in Adele's recent single, what are your thoughts around there?
I feel bad you put me on the spot there. The reason I don't remember right now, I legitimately don't, and I think this is a compliment to Adele. I was just focused on her voice.
Okay.
I wanted to see if I would feel the same thing from her voice like I did before.
Yeah.
And as I said, I didn't feel it as much, but I only watched the music video once.
Okay.
And I wasn't even caring about the composition behind it. I was just enjoying her voice. So I think that's a compliment to Adele. I mean, I'm going to give it a second listen now, so maybe another day I can respond to that properly. But, but yeah.
True. I want to, speaking of connecting with the artist and the music, I want us to talk about your connection to music and or movies, which is soundtracks, right? Because that's what you do. You're a classic composer. And when we get into that section, I definitely want you to give us a definition of Frederic Limon from your own mouth, right?
Yeah.
But before we get into that, I just want to close off or get down to the end of the What You're Feeling section by talking about something I'm connecting with, bringing it back to movies, which is another comeback. I don't know if you guys are familiar with a little gang of characters named Peanuts Gang. By a little man by Charles Schultz. Yeah. This is from back in my day, grumpy old man day. I am honestly, I saw the trailer for the Peanuts movie and I'm really stoked about that. I don't know what you guys think about that.
I haven't seen the trailer for it yet, but I have to admit I've never been a huge fan of the whole Charlie Brown thing. Yeah. It's like, it's there and I guess it's comfortable that it's there. Yeah, but I've never really been like, oh yeah, I feel for some Charlie Brown.
No. Honestly, I feel the same way. Like legit, I was never like a hardcore like Charlie Brown, like Snoopy, yo, that's my jam. Like I've never been like that. But it was just the fact that and actually even when I heard that the movie was coming out, I had no interest in it. I actually thought, you know what? They're just remaking everything under the sun. Why do we really need this? Like Charlie Brown 3D? Okay, whatever. But it was when I saw the trailer, that's what sold me. When I saw the trailer by accident one day, I was like, holy crow. Number one, it actually feels like the old cartoon. It has the heart and soul, getting back to the Adele thing. It doesn't, even though it's 3D, it's a modern animation, somehow they've managed to maintain and capture the heart and soul of the days when it was originally made, the 2D animation, in terms of the storytelling, in terms of the emotion that's conveyed, and the type of story that they're telling. So for me, the reason why it just kind of came out of nowhere is because it's that nostalgia factor.
Okay.
It just it was immediately recognizable from my childhood, and it struck an emotional chord, and that's the reason why I'm like kind of excited about it. It's not because I'm like a huge fan of it. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. On the same page with Craig, where I appreciate where it comes from. I've seen some episodes growing up.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shows that pay homage to it. Just off the top of my head, Arrested Development. They use that when he's sad and he's walking.
Yeah.
In the background.
Yeah.
Like pop culture today sometimes references it, and I appreciate it for that.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, when I saw the trailer, I feel like it's gonna be a good movie. People are gonna love it.
Yeah.
But it's not a good movie for people that don't know Charlie Brown.
Right.
Because when I saw the footage of the trailer, the parts where it was supposed to make me laugh didn't make me laugh.
Yeah.
The parts where it was supposed to make me feel emotional didn't make me feel emotional. So I don't feel like it stands on its own as a movie.
Yeah.
Which I feel like if I was a filmmaker making a movie about something that I'm passionate about, I would want it to be self-contained for people that didn't even watch what it's based on.
Yeah.
So I wish they would have done that, because I know I would have enjoyed it. But now, having seen that trailer, I probably won't watch it for that reason.
Yeah.
Won't touch me personally.
Yeah. Well, different strokes for different folks. That's why.
That's why you're gonna love it, though, right? It's for you.
Yeah. Exactly.
True. Yeah, man. That's me right now. That's where I'm at. Just feeling the rise of the new artist, regardless of what level they're at. Just seeing that growth of an artist that you appreciate.
Yeah.
And
Speaking of new artists, we need to switch gears and get into the artist section. At least ease our way into the independent artist journey by going into our suit up section. The suit up section, for all of you who are new to Live and Rock, is where we give you ammunition for your mission to become the next big thing that we're talking about. I mean, I keep using the same introduction, but repetition, it's all about. That's what can I say? That's what it's about. Shout out to SeanWest.com. Check out their podcast. Yeah, so without further ado, let's give you the tools and the things that you need to suit up and be the next best thing. I'm going to do it like this on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Suit up.
Snow suit up, flight suit up, penguin suited up. Suit up, you suited up. Birthday suited up. Slut up, suit up. Suit up, suited up. Suit up, suit up. Stay suit up.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to suit up. Suit up. And today, what do we have for everyone today? What are we going to give them? What kind of armor are we going to give them to suit up in?
Yeah, to suit up. Well, truth be told,
independent armor, sorry.
Yeah, anybody who is creating in 2015 at some point needs some kind of digital tool.
Yep,
and
very true.
So there's a resource that a lot of people surprisingly do not know about.
Yeah.
And it's called lynda.com. Lynda.
I see Mr. Limon shaking his head. You're familiar with this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Very much so. That's how I learned how to compose. Not specifically Linda. I know... It's weird to say the sentence, I know Linda, but meaning it in this way. I use Mac Pro Video, which is a very comparable one for video production, audio production. But yeah, definitely that's a new wave of learning for creative people, I think.
Let's talk about it. 1 and 2, CDH Live, lynda.com, and then it's back to you, Limon, for Mac Pro.
Yeah,
we'll do a bonus. Let's go.
So I've used both and still use both, and it's like you often will go and search for something on YouTube. How do you do this? Or you know, a quick tip. But you're searching for a good quality produced video. You're searching for someone who actually really does know what they're talking about.
Yeah.
You're searching for a specific topic. And what I love about lynda.com is that it gives you specific course outlines. It tells you how long the course is. It breaks it down into segments of, could be 2 minutes to 7 minutes. And it's, could be an 8-hour course, and it's broken down into sections and subsections. So you find exactly what you're looking for. It's got exercise materials. It's got transcripts. You can read it if you don't have the time
this sounds like, honestly,
it is absolutely a beautiful resource.
Honestly, you've been telling me about it for a long time, but I never heard you break it down like this. And now I'm like, that sounds amazing.
Absolutely.
So I'm curious for me and for listeners who aren't familiar with it. So are you saying that you can take a course or just take a specific segment of a course? Like, say I want to learn, like, what kind of things, just give us a good idea of what type of topics are on there.
The nice thing about lynda.com is they cover a really wide range of things. A lot of it is software-based, so if you're looking at any kind of music production software...
Give us specifics.
Cubase, Logic Pro, Adobe, not Premiere... was it Audition? I don't use Adobe's audio. But video production, there's Final Cut, there's... Adobe Premiere, there's
any graphic design stuff?
Graphic design, Adobe Illustrator. In fact, that's how I switched from Photoshop to Illustrator, was through going through lynda.com tutorials.
Wow.
And there's multiple teachers on a lot of these topics.
Okay.
They also have teachers who will give you business advice.
Lynda woman. Okay.
DSLR, how to use DSLR cameras for video production.
Okay.
How to set up your business as a freelancer.
Okay.
Whether, just tons of stuff.
Basically, it sounds like it's never ending. Okay, wicked.
Yeah.
So the website again is
lynda.com. Lynda.
That's what I wanted to get at. So spell it again for our listeners.
That's lynda.com.
And another thing, is it like, how much does it cost? Is it free? How does it work?
You can pay for a single course, or you can pay the monthly subscription, which is well worth it.
Yeah.
I believe last time I checked it was about $25 a month.
Okay.
And yeah, definitely pays for itself.
Okay. That's a great recommendation. I don't know, man. As I said, Mr. Limon is shaking his head in.
Oh yeah, I highly recommend that. And Mac Pro Video is similar. I'm just gonna say similar. It's more geared towards, I think, video and audio production, whereas Lynda goes into more topics, even like coding, I think, stuff like that, programming,
development,
which I've toyed with the idea of fooling around with that at some point, but who has time? And in terms of Mac Pro Video, I highly recommend. Like, I had a mentor growing up, still do work with him, and he produces and stuff, and he he told me that I should take, back in the day when Apple had something called 1-to-1, when you go to the store and you get trained for an hour.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know, you can go many times and it's for a whole year. I paid for that.
Yeah.
And I went and got trained first at the Apple store. I went twice a week for 3 months on learning Logic Pro.
Wow.
And then I wanted to take it further, so Mac Pro Video, I started going just plowing through each plugin, like the ESX24, the Sculpture, the, you know, everything. So
Mac Pro Video, is that like a separate website that you...
It's a website, macprovideo.com.
Okay, and then you just kind of paid, it's kind of like the lynda.com, you paid for individual...
It's around the same price, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, and I vouch for that too, because I've used both, and like I said, I still use both from time to time.
Okay, so for you out there who have the dime and the time, and you value the little time you have, definitely lynda.com and
Mac Pro Video. And quite honestly, it has made me money.
Okay.
Because things that I've learned on there, I've used on paying gigs, and it's made a huge difference to the final result. And my confidence and being able to, you know, go after different types of projects.
Wicked. That's what I need to do. I need to take your advice and go on there so I can start making money from my stuff. Speaking of making money, part of the reason why I'm so eager to talk to our guest, Mr. Frederic Limon, is because he is an independent artist who has cracked that code to a certain degree in terms of the independent artists making a living from their art. And that's one of the aspects we want to touch on as we get into our feature conversation with Frederic Limon, who is a composer, a YouTube blogger, a creative charity creator, a lot of different things. But like I said, we'll let him introduce himself as we get ready to get into our feature conversation on this episode of Live in Rock. So I'm going to take the music down just a little bit, and we're going to segue into the feature conversation, this creative round table with my man Frederic Limon on Live in Rock, Rockin' Live.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the feature conversation with our guest, Frederic Limon. He is a composer, music video producer. He is a pretty successful YouTube personality, but we've been trying all these ways to describe all the great things he does. Mr. Frederic Limon, thank you for being here. Can you please just introduce yourself to our audience and tell us who you are and what you do?
Thank you, if to put it this way, if I was at a cocktail party, somebody asked me what I do, my straight up answer would be I'm a musician, right? Because that's what I am first and foremost. If somebody wants the 2-sentence answer kind of a thing, I would say I'm a musician with a background in sales and marketing, and a unique skill set in film.
Beautiful. He's got the elevator pitch down. That's one of the things we all need to work
on. The third elevator pitch.
So that's how I would introduce myself, kind of where I fit in that little niche of what I do.
Awesome. And like many of us, even as it comes out in your elevator pitch, you're doing more than one thing, right? I would like to know, first of all, what would you say you're most passionate about today, in terms of projects that you're working on, or in terms of aspects of your creative things that you do?
Right now, I would say the most current thing is my YouTube videos, where I talk about soundtracks and movies and games.
Games?
Yeah.
Like video games?
I have video games. I have two of them on video games,
Wow.
One of them on Mass Effect, the other one on Destiny and
Are you
Skyrim.
Serious?
Kind of plotting them against each other,
It's funny, our last episode, we had, we were focused on pretty much video games the whole episode, because we were talking to, what are they called?
Inverted Access.
Sorry, Inverted Access. I had a brain freeze, Shout out Malcolm and Mr. Pitts. But would have been nice to get your, feedback on that episode. But, so you approach, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, we didn't give real due credit for some of the accomplishments. So, just for example, a lot of us are, starting out podcasts and YouTube channels, and one of the accomplishments or one of the successes Frederic has had is over 80,000 views on YouTube, which is still growing.
80,000? 80,000?
Yeah, my first video I put out got 80,000.
Wait. We're talking 80.
80.
Not 18?
No.
Which in itself would still be amazing.
80,000 views. Yeah. And then we can talk about that. It's a formula that kind of reverses.
The formula?
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. We're going to stop this show right now. We don't need to do nothing else right now, but get the code from you. The secret. We need 80,000 views on Live in Rock.
All right. Yeah.
No, seriously, we'll let you get into that. But, before we do that, let me see. I got so many things running through my brain. Hold on a second. Let me gather my thoughts here for a second. While I gather my thoughts, go ahead, CDH Live.
Yeah, there's just some more foundation we want to get to in terms of your journey, how you got to that 80,000 views, and how it relates to some of the other things you're doing. You've been composing for commercials. Mm-hmm. You're working with a lot of artists producing music videos. So, what has your journey been like to rise to this point, and how does reflecting on that make you think about the future?
Wow, that's a good question with a lot of sides to it. I thought of an role-playing dice that has like 12 sides to it there. Anyways, I think the best way to start would be that I did have a classical training in music growing up, and I do have a brother who has a film company, so I saw how he started off with just a passion. He quit his job, I think. I don't remember the sequence, but he kind of started doing weddings, and then over time he got a room in the house to be the office, quote unquote. Yeah. And he'd get people to come in, and then over time he made enough to move out and have his own house. Yeah. They retrofitted their basement to be, their film studio. And so that was an upgrade and got more clients. Then over time, finally, now he has a studio in downtown Brampton. Yeah. So I saw that firsthand, that example of the entrepreneurial spirit from zero to success. Right? Literally seeing them like in the room, and we would have to pretend like if they had a client coming in, I would go downstairs, pretend like that was, the only thing they did there. I didn't live there, kind of thing. I remember those little details. Yeah. And,
wow.
Yeah.
It's such a subtle thing, but makes a difference. Yeah.
Little details like that, right? So basically, I learned how to do video things with him. I'd go to shoots with him. And a friend and I basically had this idea of this is kind of going to go a little bit sideways. You'll think, what? Why? What the heck? But you'll see where I'm going with this. Yeah. So we had an idea to make fun of Mormon missionaries because when they finish their 2-year service, they tend to get married as quickly as possible, right? Okay, And at the time, Bruno Mars's "Marry You" was a very big hit. Okay. And so we just changed the words, so pretending like the missionary was a Mormon missionary in Peru, just so it would fit with the lyrics. We said, so it's a beautiful night, I just got back from Peru, it's our first date, and I think I want to marry you. Right? So, I don't know, just writing lyrics, it was really fun. We wrote the lyrics together, and we thought, let's do a music video. All this was for fun.
Just for fun,
Just on a $0 budget. And we posted, it starts getting views and views and views, and all of a sudden it's like we're at, 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. To date it's past 80,000 views.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So that was an accident, but then, but I, you can't help but ask yourself, success leaves clues. What worked, and how can we replicate that? Okay. So I asked myself that, and did another experiment afterwards.
So you actually, after the quote unquote accident, you actually took the time to go back and you actually analyzed and kind of, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I came up with the concept of what I call a magnet video. Okay. Which is where you take something that's very big in pop culture. In that instance, it was Bruno Mars's "Marry You."
Yes, yeah.
And you piggyback off of that with something niche, a very niche people or market or industry or something. In this case, it was Mormons, right? Okay. So then all of a sudden you're a big fish in a small pond. Right. It's a very unique product, a music video, right? Yes. Parodying something.
Yeah.
And Mormons just loved it. They were like, "Oh, this is great!" Just sharing it and everything.
Seriously, the Mormons were the ones that were seriously.
Yeah. It's poking. It's lighthearted fun.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You know, and we can go into this in another podcast.
Yeah.
But anyways, the point is that after that, I tried it again.
Okay.
Now, here's the context. So I did another video. I'll give you the context in a second.
Yeah.
Did another video, got 4,000 views in the first 24 hours, 11,000 in the first week, with zero, like not, doing all these crazy things that other people would think, oh, I need to do this and that.
Yeah.
So what we did was, it was last year, and All About the Bass was the biggest thing out there.
Yeah.
And I have all of friends that play board games. I love board games myself.
Yeah.
I'm a recent convert to board games. Further than just Monopoly or whatever.
Yeah.
The one that turned me, people call that your gateway game. What was your gateway game? Mine was this one that's called Pandemic, where you work together against the board to eradicate diseases.
Oh, yeah?
And if you lose, it's because the board game itself won and everybody on Earth is dead.
Really?
Isn't that cool?
That game,
Really? Honestly, really, I'm intrigued right off the bat. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's serious.
Because other ones I'd be like, oh, that's weird or whatever. But this one intrigued me, and then that opened the floodgates for me. So we did a music video parodying what it's like to play a popular board game that is a lot of people's gateway game called Settlers of Catan.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say your gateway was. But
it wasn't in my case, but I love the game.
Yeah.
And we just made fun of what it's like to play Settlers of Catan, and we parodied All About the Bass, right?
Yeah.
So a magnet video.
Okay.
So the only problem with it was there were several, I think. We were just due to scheduling and everybody being able to make it on time. There was an artist I want to work with, talented singer. Shout out to Nicole Dion. I think she still has her channel. The thing is that because of everything, the earliest I could release it was December 27th of last year.
Okay.
So within the first day, the official Settlers of Catan just saw it, and they posted it on their social media stuff.
Seriously?
It got something like 400 shares on Facebook. Like all these people, and this is awesome because this is how you see something truly going viral.
Yeah.
In the comments, you would see somebody in Facebook not write anything except people's names, tagging them. Like people just 3 names, 4 names, another comment, 10 names, just so they would be notified to watch it. Like not even oh, this is cool, just tagging it. We need to show this, right? January 1st came and views just died. It just imploded. Yeah.
Why?
So we have several theories as to why.
Okay.
Number one, I feel like I wanted to release it December. I wanted to release it by September if everything would have gone my way.
Yeah.
Or August, actually, ideally. And I feel like it would have passed the 50,000 mark at least.
Yeah.
But just at that point, I feel like in the zeitgeist, for people that don't know what that means, just basically in the collective consciousness of the earth.
Yeah.
That song all of a sudden became last year.
Right.
All of a sudden it was, right?
Yeah.
Also, it was also done on a $0 budget.
Yeah.
Okay, so we didn't have the most all the sets that I would have loved. I would have loved to gone out there because in the game you trade resources like hay and goats and all this stuff. And I have all these shots in my head of the singer with a goat and in a barn and all this crazy crap going on. Yeah. We didn't have the budget for it.
Right.
We shot in literally something like 6 hours on a Saturday, 2 or 3 different sets. I forget.
Yeah.
Two different locations.
Yeah.
And it was just crazy. People coming in from Toronto, you know, doing it for free. You go on Mandy.com, actors and everything.
Yeah. Oh, that's another one we have to do. Tips and tools, man.
Tips and tools.
Yeah.
So again, I, as a filmmaker, love what I did. It proved the concept of the magnet video.
Right.
But it wasn't the video that I wish I could have made. Right. I would love to get a little bit more cash and do it again.
Yeah.
And do it to the degree where even somebody that doesn't know about the game would love to watch it because it didn't reach that height, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas I think the Mormon one, we did get more shots like that. Just, anyways.
Yeah.
So we feel like it was a combination of those things. So I think right now it's at 16,000-ish views.
Okay.
But again, it was going insane. 4,000 views the first day, 11,000 the first week, and then boom, it dies on January 1st.
Yeah.
We know that's not completely our fault because it normally doesn't happen that way. Where after 1 week, there's nothing. Like there's at least a trend where at least it would die down. Yeah. It wasn't that. It just dove. It was like somebody got a knife and cut it. Right.
Almost as if someone was on a mission to just take you guys out, like just to block you guys. You know what I mean? Censor you guys, get you out of the.
I'm curious because there's one thing in common that I have with you is that I create both music and video, and I wonder as you're speaking, in terms of at least the music, you're way beyond me. I'm not even trying to say I'm in that same realm, but I don't play any instruments in that way. But what's interesting to me is if you consider yourself a right brain, left brain kind of a person, because you talk a lot about the analytics and, what were the, all these theories of why it went wrong and the numbers of what the first week was versus, the first day versus, in January. I'm curious just if you consider yourself to be that kind of right brain, left brain, and if you find it, a challenge, producing music, producing video, and thinking analytically about your steps.
Yeah. Ooh, let's dive into something here. I forget which motivational speaker talks about this, but I believe the brain is like a machine, and if you ask it a question, it'll give you an answer. You see where I'm going with this and why this is going to answer your question. Don't worry. But for example, think of people with self-confidence issues. They might ask themselves, for example, why am I so ugly? Why am I so fat? Or why am I so stupid? Or why don't people like me? Or whatever. When you ask your brain that questions, what's your brain going to give you? Answers, right? Yeah. Oh, why are you fat? Well, because X, Y, Z, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Because you ask yourself that question, you label yourself. Whereas if you switch it and you ask yourself different questions like, oh, wow, why did that work? Or why are people liking me? Or what am I doing? What did I do today that made people react to me differently than another day? Right. All of a sudden you start getting useful questions and useful answers. So I think like whatever you ask yourself, you label yourself as.
Okay.
And so I think left brain, right brain is an easy way to label ourselves, but we use both, man. Yeah. We really use both. And that whole concept of left brain, right brain is, it has a psychological foundation. Yeah. Psychology was my major at university, by the way. But I really think it's a disservice to think that way. And I'll give you an example of something that just opened my mind, because at one point I thought, well, maybe I'm more, the creative type, the right brain. Yeah. And then I saw a book, I read a book by the philosopher Descartes. He's the guy who said, I think, therefore I am. Okay. Right? There's a joke where Descartes walks into a bar and the guy says, do you want a drink? And he says, I think not. And he disappears. Anyways, very, very dad joke. But anyways, this guy's talking about like philosophy and all this stuff, like, using his creativity of like how I know I exist and all this crap, right? And then on a page in the book, I remember he had like a line, like a parabola or something. He started like saying, well, if the mind is X, then, therefore I exist equals Y. I'm just giving an example, right? But just all of a sudden he started using math as a way to creatively explain his philosophy. Okay. And all of a sudden I saw math as a way to express creativity.
Okay.
And that, I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. Like, I was good at math growing up, and then I had a phase where I was like, I don't know, and that just, like, rekindled something in me. Yeah. And I think a good philosophy in life is just to have a question mark on your forehead and just be curious about everything. Okay. Be passionate about any questions you have, right? Yeah. So, I consider myself equally left and right, to be honest with you. Yeah. That's how I feel like I can love and enjoy, like, science, like, with a friend of mine. Yeah. There's a really good friend of mine, shout out to James Strang. We did these crystals that generate electricity when you do physical force on them or even yell at them. Yeah, it's really cool. And
you put that on any of your YouTube?
No, I haven't. No. But it's something where it's my science geek inside of me, and I can do that one day, play board games another, do music another, video another, and then like love math on another day. Right? So I think if we stop labeling ourselves, we could probably enjoy and appreciate more of the things of life. So
it's kind of the best of both worlds. I mean, from a creative or independent artist perspective, a lot of us could use a little bit more math in our life. I mean, that's kind of what gets you on the business side. It gets you get into that place where you can make a living from your art, which is what we're all striving to do. And you've already done it quite successfully. Obviously, your YouTube videos were successful in terms of getting views and getting, 80,000. Like, I'm still trying to wrap my head around that. But the fact that, you know, it wasn't just fan base. It wasn't just empty success. Like, you've been able to parlay that into tangible, practical success where you for the most part, you make most of your living from your art, right? And even if it's not on a full-time basis, like, I know you have a lot of, tell us about some of those other projects that you did in terms of, you were talking about, commercials that you did, et cetera, those things. Like, how did those come about and how did you make the transition?
Yeah, basically, I kept learning more about the composition side of things, and my brother with this company got a gig with Sunwing Vacations, and I started to compose for those videos, and some of them were aired on TV and stuff, like internationally, and I still want to see the clip. I haven't seen the clip. I learned like 4 months after. I'm like, what? My music was on TV? Yeah, so the thing is, kind of to give you a background into where I am now.
Yeah.
After the board game music video, the next music video I was going to do was also Board Game 1 about pandemic. That one where you have to fight the board or else everybody dies with the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I actually reached out to Doctors Without Borders.
Okay.
Because I want to make it so that the profits or like the downloads would go to them. Because Ebola was kind of a thing still, you know, more then than now. Mm-hmm. And we parodied the Bruno Mars song that just came out again with
the Uptown Funk?
Uptown Funk, yeah. It starts off, this is a plague that will start with some scabs and it will expand to your lungs and asphyxiate you. Swine flu, Ebola, nose feels a bit drippy. You got cholera, malaria. We're making our way to your city. You're too hot. It's awesome. Yeah. So we did it. We recorded it.
Too?
I wrote the lyrics.
Okay,
we recorded it.
Yeah.
We have the song almost ready.
Yeah.
I was gonna film it. Like, we had Doctors Without Borders. I was gonna get their PR, you know, to help out and everything. Very unfortunate event. My father passed away, and so that just put a halt to everything. Kind of recovered from that. And then, as I was determining what to do next, things in a very awesome way were going very well with my girlfriend at the time. And decided I want to get married, right? Yeah. So where I am at right now is basically I took a part-time job. You guys know where? And just to be able to support, to have something stable, because with the industry, I was making a lot of money some months, and then other months I'd be like surviving off previous months, right? Hadn't gotten in the groove 100% yet, or else I wouldn't be with this part-time job, which is an awesome job regardless.
Meet interesting people in this part-time job.
I don't know. And so right now I'm just waiting for her to finish school, and which will be at the end of November, at the end of this month. And that's when I'll be able to get back more to the groove of things. Doing the music videos again, I want to pick that music video up again. But that's why people are like, you did 80,000, and then like the board game one that was doing very well until New Year's Day. Why haven't you followed up? Well, that's the context of this year. I will follow up next year.
It's good that you mentioned that, because there are so many times where we kind of discount the fact that sometimes life just happens. And it's okay sometimes to, you know, take a bit of a detour if it's important to get something else taken care of.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially when it's family.
So took a pause on that, a big pause on everything. Did a few more soundtrack reviews, but 2016 is definitely going to be a very big year. I want to put an album together, actually, so that's on the shelf as well.
Well, we always have like a bunch of different things on our back burner. You know what I mean? Like in terms of creative projects, but. As you mentioned that, one other thing I wanted to talk about is your other videos, because so far you've been talking about your parody videos primarily, right? But you also do the soundtrack reviews, which is bring us right back to the beginning of this conversation. The soundtrack reviews are like, I've only watched a couple of them, but the ones I've watched, they're amazing. The first one I mentioned, I said the Age of Ultron one, when you're talking about, you break down how you can turn a kid's song into what is it? Evil version. And it's amazing. Like the production value on the video itself is great, and also the actual content is like so interesting. The other one I watched was your Harry Potter one. And again, great content. I never even thought about that before, but I love those videos. Is that something you're going to be doing a lot more of, as you said, now that you're getting settled down? And maybe just tell us real quickly where people can watch those videos, first of all, and then maybe a quick description of maybe the Harry Potter one. And yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find them on YouTube if you just search my name, Frederic Limon. It's Frederic spelt without a K, Limon like a lemon but with an I. I noticed that as I would talk in casual conversation with friends or family about music and movies, they'd get a reaction being like, I never thought of that. Yeah. And after enough times, I'm like, well, maybe people would think that same thing online, so let's do a test.
Yeah.
Did 6 videos, or it might have been 7, but anyways, 6 or 7 in the winter of 2014, and then just let it be. See what the reaction was.
Yeah.
So for 6 months, it was like 8 months or 9 months, because I didn't do more videos until like the September of the next year.
Yeah.
Which is now this year.
Yeah.
And basically, as I did nothing for 8 months, views just kept accumulating. Subscribers just kept accumulating. I was at like 20 subscribers when I started.
Yeah.
Slowly got to 30, 40, 50, 60, blah, blah, 100, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then the one about The Hobbit, just went pretty insane. And it's just me talking about music, and it's a 6-minute video, and it has like over 33,000 views now.
That's crazy.
And I don't spend a cent on marketing.
Yeah.
So this really hit a chord. My favorite thing, like, I believe that everybody can understand music as long as us musicians get off our high horses and explain it in a way that's relatable.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is the key thing that I liked about those videos, is that they were so relatable. And I think it kind of piggybacks on what you said earlier about your magnet, what'd you call it?
Magnet videos.
Magnet videos. I feel like even in those videos, the soundtrack videos, you're kind of using the same principle in that you're talking about soundtracks, movie soundtracks, but you're specifically picking very popular, down-to-earth, some are blockbuster type movies to talk about it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not talking about necessarily the Oscar winners. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm curious too, when you first came up with the idea of doing this soundtrack reviews, how much development went into that? Did you just pick up a camera and shoot, or did you actually? Because I know when I look at your your published process on your website, for example, it says that you spend most of your time in pre-production. So that's part of why I asked the question.
And if I can add to it, it definitely shows. Like the quote. Yeah, I think it's not. I don't think it's a accident that those videos have hit high views as well without you looking at it. It's because of the quality of the production. And for our listeners, you do need to go out and check it again. Frederic Limon, FredEricKli.
No K.
Sorry, my bad.
Okay, that's okay. I mean, no K.
No K.
Yeah. FredericLimon.com is where you probably see most of it, and also on YouTube, right?
That's right. Little tidbit that people, I don't know how many people know this, but I actually started learning 3D animation because I actually did an intro for my soundtrack reviews with 3D animation where it would have like moving, like you think you're watching a video of the movie or video game I'm talking about, and it zooms out, and it's like this huge, imagine this huge like I don't know how to explain it, this huge like TV screen where it keeps zooming out, and there's a bunch, like 100 blocks of different segments of the movie that they're playing next to each other, like a big projector, but then a bunch of like parts of the scenes, and then boom, the soundtrack reviews floats over in text, right? So I downloaded Blender, which is a freaking amazing program. It's almost to the level like very professional 3D animation software. Took videos and I paid for courses to learn how to do it or whatever because I had this in mind. And then, but I always believe that, you got to test things, and the feedback was 50-50. Some people liked it, some people didn't. And somebody, actually the guy, really talented videographer who filmed my first 2 soundtrack reviews, Michael Smith, I think he's still using his name Michael. He has an original name, Joe Smith, but anyways, but he was like, hey, why don't you like talk about the movie stuff, but then like overlay it on top of your talking. that actually wasn't something I thought of when I was first. But then I'm like, why? That's so obvious. And that's an integral part of my show now. So thanks to him. I don't know if he understands how much that influenced, the show, but like that rendered my intro useless because that was my way of saying this is what I'm going to be talking about, and then it was going to be me talking. But then I was like, no, like I don't need this intro anymore. I'll just get some footage from my promo video that I put together, and that's how it started. That's a little. So how did it start? That's a little snippet of how much time I spent to prepare for these things.
Okay, so from the time that you first thought of the concept to its current incarnation, how long has that been?
I probably thought about it, I don't know, early last year. Not early next year. It's Back to the Future going on. No, early 2014, and took several, like, just in the mind, just sort of like, just growing and the ideas coming, and if I did, when would I do it, which videos would I do first? Well, Frozen, because Frozen's big, so I'll do Frozen first, but I also want to do other movies that I like, so I don't have to just do something that everybody knows about. Exactly, like I really want to do one on Prometheus, Ridley Scott's Prometheus, which isn't as big as Star Wars or Frozen or whatever, but I just have such a very specific opinion about the music that I know that one is going to be one that's only going to get like a couple hundred views, but that one's for me and the fans that have stuck with me so far.
Well, that brings me to an interesting thought in terms of doing stuff for your passion and not necessarily for the immediate acclaim or the grand acclaim, which is, Live and Rock. We're here doing this humble little podcast, and we are very grateful to have you here because, like I said, we're about the independent artists, and every time we speak with someone, we feel good, even though we haven't hit 80,000 views. And it's not paying the bills yet, but just getting time to speak with independent artists like you and not only get inspired, but inspire others by allowing them to hear what you have to say. That's why we're doing it. And I just want to thank you for being with us, Frederic, number one. I'm only saying that also right now because we are running out of time. I just took a glance at the clock and like, wow. We actually have gone overtime. I didn't even realize. Yeah, we already have. So
I'm just getting started.
I know. So, I mean, and clearly the point is that because we're passionate and we're enjoying this conversation, that's why we're overtime right now. Yeah. But every single guest we have on, we always say the same thing. Like, we could definitely have you on again. Yeah. And we want to talk again for sure, go more in depth in other areas. But because you talked about passion, I think we should leave that on that subject for the final note. Like, what is the passion moving forward for Frederic Limon and CDH Live? Because it's kind of how we like to end the show. What's on deck for either both of you? 2016 is around the corner. You're always perpetually host and guest. You gotta be prepared for both, CDH.
Well, for me,
and you got to do it in 2 minutes.
Okay,
2.5.
All right. So Straight Goods on deck for me is just rededicating myself day by day, one day at a time, to continue to grow, and really just being able to continue learning from Frederic and the guests that we have and the new connections we're able to make through Live and Rock and the opportunities that come for CDH Live.
So primarily the focus is Live and Rock, is what you're saying, for the next little while.
The focus is growth, creative growth, and Live and Rock.
And how are you going to achieve that Live and Rock? But are there any other tools or
there's also, okay, I have to make a confession now. You're forced it out of me.
That's my point. That's my point.
Okay, so I'm actually on a road to life, which is
that's what I'm getting at.
Which is a commitment to put in 1,000 hours.
Confession is good for the soul.
Of writing, producing, and performing this year.
Yes.
And I've been I fell off the horse, to be quite honest.
Okay.
And so I'm getting back on the horse.
All right.
And I'm at about 80 hours right now.
Okay.
And I got to put in 1,000 by September 2016.
All right.
So yeah, that's it. And I am actually working on some new dates to be in front of an audience again.
Okay.
So yeah, things are still moving.
All right. So it's good. It's good that you fell off the horse, but you just as long as you get back up. That's right. That's most important. All right.
Get back on that horse.
That's right. That's right. That's why I wanted to put you on the spot like that. For 1,000 hours, where can they get that or watch that?
Road to Life. So just check out CDH Live on YouTube, and the video series is Road to Life, and the website will be updated eventually. But YouTube,
wicked. And Frederic Limon. Number one thing on the list?
Number one thing on the list, get my album out for next year. I really want to do that, yeah.
Word.
I do want to say I do look forward to a part 2. We barely just scratched the surface.
That's what I'm trying to say,
And everything, like, I do want to kind of put in a teaser here. Everything that I, like, the tools or, like, the methods I've used, I would say are, like, worth nothing unless you do 2 very specific things.
Which is...
We don't have time. We're out of time now.
Yes, this guy. Okay,
marketing master,
Mr. Master. Exactly.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. We are now absolutely obligated and bound. We have to have Frederic back.
Exactly.
So, if you want to get some more info and more details about Frederic Limon, and of course also what's up with Shell Rock,
that's right.
Hit us up at liveandrock.com. And
no. At Live and Rock on Twitter.
That's right. Tweet.
We're trying to make it simple for you. Follow us. We're being serious. Follow us on Twitter.
Shout out everybody who's watched the video for Rock the World. Man, thanks for the views.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
And all of the comments that have been coming in. People, I wish I had it up right now because there's been some mad love coming out, but we appreciate it.
We appreciate everyone who's been listening.
Anyone.
Yeah.
So
shout out to Dan Gaddy. You know who you are.
Yeah. We're not going to go
down that lane.
Just Dan Gaddy. Nobody
else today.
You don't matter to me.
One love.
Yes.
And that was just for fun. So yeah, it's nice to get that love coming back.
Yeah. So I think on that note, we will call this one a wrap. Once again, thank you, Mr. Frederic Limon, who will be back. Stay tuned, all you listeners, and check out the video version of the show, so you can see what's going on behind the mic. And you know, that's right. So, as we always say at the end of every show, if you're gonna live, there's one thing you got to do.
You might as well rock.